So episode 7 of Solo Leveling is out. Truly incredible, and I'm here as always to compare the scenes between the manhwa and the anime. I've already done the same for the last 6 episodes, so I hope you check those videos out before this one. Now let's get into this one. Now the anime starts off just like in the manhwa, where Manager Wu is brought, documents on what happened last episode, on all the hunters' deaths and Jinwoo and Jinho surviving. Now the next scene in the anime is Jinwoo arriving home with beer and chicken, which in the manhwa doesn't start off like that. It just starts off with them already eating the chicken, with time having passed a little. Now in this scene, we see that he's much more, pressed, emotionally, psychologically. He has some inner conflicts about, him killing the hunters. When Jinha asked him about the raid and if his party was strong, which in the manhwa didn't happen. Jinwoo acted as if nothing happened. Now, the drinking of the beer and him not getting drunk and finding out about, the status effect and the secret quest rewards that he got when he first, survived the double dungeon. It's almost the same as the manhwa, but in the anime, the scene was more extended, where he went to his room to drink more and learn more about Kandiaru's lesson. Now, in the manhwa, in this scene, he actually drinks Rasaka's poison instead of in the anime where he does so at the end during his fight with the dog. Now, in the anime, he falls asleep and is woken up by Jinha that he's gotten a call, from Jinho. But in the manhwa, he doesn't fall asleep. It's right at that scene where he drank the poison and just got the bath. That is when the sister came in and told him about the call. Now, the meeting with Jinho is almost the same, him being asked to go on the 19 dungeon raids, and the fact that Jinho wants to be a guild master. Some of the dialogue in the anime is tweaked from the manhwa. Some lines and panels are also removed.
あれはあいつらが先に殺そうとしてきたんじゃないですか。正当防衛です。父は S 級ハンターをマスターに起用し、副マスターに僕の兄を置いて。
S 級って国内に7人しかいないんだぞ。
ええ、唯一ギルドに加入してないミンビョングハンターはすでに引退してます。
But overall, this scene in the anime is much more serious. But in the manhwa, it has some comedic elements at some part, with Jinwoo and Jinho making funny faces and Jinho begging Jinwoo to actually accept his proposal, which he actually did in the manhwa. But in the anime, he doesn't at this point, and even actually kind of threatened him at the end when he says he won't expose him, creating a tense few seconds, which didn't happen in the manhwa. Now the next scene in the anime is of Hwang Dong-soo, but in the manhwa is Jinwoo and Jinha's running scene, which they kind of switched it in both medium. Now in the anime, Hwang Dong-soo receives information about Jinho and Jinwoo from Laura, but in the manhwa, he actually called someone to fax him the information. And also, they specify clearly that his schedule is packed for 2 weeks in the manhwa, but in the anime, they don't. And in the manhwa, he actually thinks more about the situation, his brother's death, and how Jinwoo and Jinho survived. Now, the moment that he asks Laura about if he could kill someone in Korea is just the same as in the manhwa. Now, in the next scene in the anime is that running scene with Jinwoo and his sister, and it's almost the same as the manhwa, with him asking his sister about the money he got offered from Jinho, which in the manhwa he accepted, and it was 3 billion instead of 30 billion that he changed it to in the anime.
あと
貯金わかんないよ、現実味ないし。
Now in the anime, he intentionally goes ahead of Jinha, but in the manhwa, he's actually in deep thoughts, and that's how, he unknowingly just blasted past her and went ahead and realized later on. With him over-exercising and actually getting a secret reward / secret quest and opening that box, which happens off-screen in the manhwa. Him getting that information of the elixir of life is something that doesn't happen this early. It happens much later after he's entered the Demon Castle dungeon. Now, in the manhwa, the reason why he wanted to enter this Demon Castle dungeon was to get stronger so that he could go on the raids that he accepted to go with Jinho. But in the anime, since he didn't accept it at this point, his reasoning for going to this dungeon is because of him getting this information early of the elixir of life that can actually help his sick mother, which there's an anime only scene where he actually visits his mother before he goes.
諦めたらそこまでだ。俺はもっと強くなってもっとレベルアップしてこんなところで生き絶えてたまるか。
Now, the next scene in the anime is that big battle with the Cerberus. In the manhwa, they didn't show the full fight, and Jinho suffered much more in the anime than he did in the manhwa. And even before he met the Cerberus, he showed that he had a teleportation stone, which he talked about using if things got too dangerous, which didn't happen in the manhwa. Now, in the manhwa, at this point, we get information about the Jeju Island, the X-Trans unable to, solve that situation, and how, so many people died and how the place is now unlivable. And in the anime, he only compares the rank to the Jeju Island situation, which in the anime, they showed us in the opening of episode 1, which didn't actually happen in the manhwa. The manhwa made a point to emphasize the danger of an S-rank gate and how even S-ranks banding together may not even solve the situation, may not even win. Now, with the fight in the anime, Jinho actually loses his arm instead of just being bitten in the manhwa. And after being effed up in both medium, he uses the total recovery, which in the manhwa, after using it, he twisted one of the heads of the Cerberus, which didn't happen in the anime. And after about 3 panels, the rest of the fight is skipped and we see the end where he has actually killed it. But in the anime, it continues. After using the total recovery, he's effed up more, loses blood and more HP, and the fight gets more chaotic, with Jinho trying to survive, and even almost used the teleportation stone before it was hit from his hands by the monster. And as I said before, this is the place where he actually consumes Rasakai's venom, instead of that early scene in his room in the manhwa. He also uses the shop for the first time in this scene to buy healing potions. He also had to wait for the Cerberus rage buff to end before going in for the kill, which in the anime was so brutal. We got showed how he got killed and he nearly got bitten in half, all while stabbing the Cerberus to death. All this did not happen in the manhwa. He really almost died in the anime. Another big change is that in the anime, after defeating the Cerberus, he actually gets the recipe for the elixir of life, which doesn't happen in the manhwa. It happens way later after he enters the Demon Castle dungeon and had to go through some series of trials, like way past all that. And I don't want to spoil any more than that because we're going to see that in the next episode. Now, these are all the differences and the changes that they made comparing the anime to the manhwa. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this. I have 6 other videos covering the previous 6 episodes, so I hope you check those videos out, and a bunch of other entertaining videos on the channel as well. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like. It helps the channel and the video out. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell not to miss any new video as well. As always, Nerdy Sage here. See you guys in the next one.